Good evening, class. Yeah, welcome back to our
Good
session.
evening.
Today we have an interesting topic as we get closer to finishing our program. There are about only 3 sessions left. And we have one interesting topic that we'll be looking at. Artificial intelligence and its implication on data security and privacy. I remember last week I wanted to talk about something on the major data protection policies, the global ones, GDPR, and then the HIPAA from America. But I couldn't do that. But today is actually interesting that it's part of this session. So if you're able to get there, we'll talk about it. Now, so the title of our session is Artificial Intelligence and its implication on data security and privacy, aka responsible AI. Please, this is session 6 because of the way last week we had 4 and 5 together. So that's why we have session 6. But I think it's supposed to be session 5 for you guys in reality. Nancy, am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then. Thank you very much. But anyway, how was your week? Elizabeth and Abigail. Now, how was your week?
Hectic.
Hectic.
Yes,
Oh, sorry.
I was okay, sir.
Godfred, how was your place?
It's okay. We are managing, sir.
What is managing when Ghanaians say managing? What is managing? There's nothing like managing.
We are balancing it.
You are balancing the economy or you're balancing the life. Or both.
Both, sir.
Kofi Sampene, what about you? And Samuel Afedu?
Watch it. You go again. Watch it. One of the
Hey, somebody talk about watching the evening. When did you go to eat watching? Until Muni watching is available, you can go for that one. I think you can buy 2 Haptel. Haptel, is that true?
Sorry, sir. Please, question.
I was saying that you can buy watch it through Haptel.
Yes, you can buy a lot of like there's a lot of washy joints on Aptel. A lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those of you are the guy talking about watch it, you can try that one. Paulina, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you, sir.
Richard Jedu Asante, are you Elizabeth's brother?
no, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Anyway, Seth and Victoria, how be?
I'm doing well.
Okay. Anyway. Okay, so let's delve into artificial intelligence and its implication on data security and privacy, aka responsible AI. So we'll discuss how should AI be responsibly and ethically used in business and society. And that takes us to how I was able to get a class list from Dr. Kolob. So I had about 28, but today he has given me an list of 34. I don't know which is correct. So I'll confirm with him because the numbers keep on increasing. So please bear with me. I'm trying to confirm with the list he has given with me. Today he brought an analyst. I don't know. Nancy, do you know how many you are formally?
Yes, sir. Please, we are 27, 28.
That's what I know. But today he brought some list. Okay, I'll look at it and then confirm with that.
Yes, sir.
We'll put up a Google form so that we'll know how we can do either you do a pickup or you do a delivery. If it's delivery, you pay for it. That one I can't do it free. That one I'll give it to a delivery company, then you guys will sort it out also. Or one person can come and collect and share. That one too, people will not trust. You may not get to them. So whichever way you want to do it, we'll do some Google form, then you can let us know how you do, whether you pick it up from the department or from Uber. Yeah. Okay. So artificial intelligence, what is it? Why AI is a concern, the need for responsible AI, Africa progress towards AI policies, and international policies on data protection. We don't finish. We'll continue with the next week's session, the latter 2. So let's try and start with it. Okay, so there's a lot of talk about artificial intelligence, and does anybody have an idea of what it thinks it is? This is not the definition. This is just trying to give an idea of what people think about it. But I want to know whether some of you have any definition of it, or have come across your perspective when you as a Ghanaian, when you hear artificial intelligence, what comes into mind? Is it the LG TV you are watching, or your air condition that you can clap and the air condition can come on, you can clap and the air condition goes off? Is that artificial intelligence? Okay, Godfrey, thank you for the doing the Saturday classes. Okay, so we'll do some arrangements on that towards the next weekend. By that time, then you will have everything in stock. Okay. Yeah, Elizabeth, can go ahead.
So please, I think artificial intelligence is when computer systems are able to make some intelligent self-decisions based on some data that have been provided already. So it's not actual intelligence, but it is some intelligence that is based on pre-processed or pre-inputted data in their system.
Hey, are you sure? The things can, when you have a car, it's not about predator. It's able to make decision as when it comes across. When you were watching the video, you saw the car was making decisions. So some of the things can be predator, but some of them, the way we are getting to. Have you seen ChatGPT? It makes it tells you things based on what you are telling it. If you ask it to write an essay right now, the essay is already there. It puts it together. So it's not always based on that. It's able to make some reasoning, if I'm right. Abigail. But that's a good point. That's a one phase of artificial intelligence. I'm not going to go through the history of it. We are just going to look at it in terms of data. That's what we are doing today. Yeah, Abigail.
So, artificial intelligence can also be development of computer systems to mirror or mimic human intervention or work normally as if a human is on the other side of the machine.
Oh, but this after the definition, she has just paraphrased what is on the screen.
Even read what's on the screen.
This is double in a different way. You read the sentence and you start from the back. It's good. You have said everything. Development of computer systems that's mimic or so interesting. I understand what you are saying. You have a good point there. Any gentleman who has an idea of what I want example of what you have seen in Ghana you think is artificial intelligence. Don't tell me fufu pounding machine. I want examples of things you have seen in Ghana you think it may be right or wrong, but I just want you think it's artificial intelligence that's running it. Yes. What? Go ahead, please. Jennifer, go ahead. Oh, Jennifer, your hand came up and you went down.
Yes, sir. I was thinking, I wanted to define the artificial intelligence.
Okay, what do you want to say?
I'm thinking that it's a science of making machines that can think like humans.
Okay, machines. That's a very strong word. Machines. Okay. Yes. What in Ghana do you think is an example or is driven by some form of artificial intelligence? What have you seen around you? When I say Ghana, I don't say the Ghanaians made it. I'm trying to say something I've seen in the country before.
Can you say ATM?
ATM has artificial intelligence in it. Which aspect of the ATM? Which aspect of it? When you put your card in, say welcome, Adjoa. Is that what you are thinking is artificial intelligence? Anyway, let me hear from Bintu and Godfred. What is artificial intelligence? What do you see? Like, what do you see around you? Haptel, is there anything about your things that you do? Gridco, is there anything about the things that you do that you think is artificial intelligence? Yes, Mariam.
So for my workplace like this, there are some offices that needs it takes your facial recognition, it captures your face before it lets you into a certain part. I think Airport One Square also has that security feature that uses AI.
Okay, so it takes your biometrics. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes,
Based biometrics.
yes.
And it matches with some data, like what
Yes.
Elizabeth said earlier. It matches your data, then it'll be able to authenticate you, allows you to go. So it's like a fraud detection system or security system. That's interesting. Okay. Yes, set.
Say, to me, an example is the traffic lights, because sometimes you need human intelligence to direct cars. So if we have
No, this one there. The traffic light that when we were in primary school, people used to design with Conco and things, and they put matrices and things. But you said that one, I think, hey. Okay, you see, I like the way you are saying it, but I think you think there's some intelligence somewhere. That's why you are saying that. Okay. So let's compare the artificial and artificial intelligence. So the first one, Godfrey, if you read for us.
Okay, one, artificial intelligence is the capability of a machine to imitate intelligent human behavior and perform tasks that would typically require human intelligence, such as visual perception, speech recognition, decision making, and problem solving.
Okay,
Russell
so
and
I
Nozick
think with this
created
definition, there, what she Mariam talked about in terms of her office, you use biometrics in terms of your face. That's visual perception. And nobody has mentioned, somebody mentioned this. Okay, is the traffic light decision making set. And then problem solving. So we are seeing four key features that we can mimic or show that there's some intelligence taking place. Okay, let's get another person to read. Bintu, can you read the second definition for us? Bintu, are you with us? Okay. Yes, you can go ahead.
AI is a field of study that focuses on the development of intelligent agents capable of perceiving their environment, reasoning and learning from experiences, and making decisions to achieve specific goals.
It's very, very interesting. Perceiving the environment. The advert, the video you watch, what comes into mind, the class? What comes into mind in terms of perceiving the environment? What do you see that you saw it actually takes that feature or takes that characteristics of human being, perceiving the environment? What did you see? The video we just watched. Yes, class. The video we watched, what aspect of it captures that perceiving the environment? Yeah, Richard.
The vehicles have, I think, a map of the routes that is within the area that they were actually moving in.
But that
So
is
they
not
knew the road network.
But that road network doesn't let you perceive it. The road, you know, sometimes something can even happen in the road that was not on the map. So there's something that was helping them perceive the environment. Yes,
They
Abigail.
also had a camera.
Okay.
A camera
Okay.
that were able to take real-time photographs or videos of whatever was going on within the environment.
Okay, what else, Abigail?
So the ability for the car to stop when there's an oncoming.
Thank you very much. I think I'm very happy about it, how you said. And Emmanuel, I was going to make link it to what the gentleman said earlier. Oh, Emmanuel, you can come. Actually, what you just said is trying to say that it's not about just filming and taking videos or pictures, but being able to even calculate distance in real time and calculate your speed to be able to know at what point should you stop so that you don't create an accident that's not okay. That's what is quite interesting about it. So and you saw one thing, you saw the camera was 360. I don't know whether you saw that. And there were sensors also around the car, apart from the camera. So when I was asking examples of what is in Ghana, I thought somebody even talk about the sensors they have on their car that helps you to be able to park. Nobody mentioned that, but I know you guys are big guys. You drive big the Benzes and the new Camrys would have got sensors. So as senses, and I believe it is able to sense. Who has a car that is able to sense the environment or perceive the environment is in, either by camera or by sensors on the sides? Who has one? Hey, set again. Set and now. After now, I know that you have 2 or 3. Set, go ahead.
Yes, sir. So I have a sensor when someone crosses or when you are, nearing another vehicle, it alerts you to brake. Sometimes it even brakes itself.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so have you, since you started using that one, is it any one day that you pick a car that doesn't have it? And what was the difference in the experiences?
Sir, please, the question again.
Now you have that one that you have been driving. I'm saying that, have you driven any other car since you had the one that has the sensors that doesn't have sensors? And how do you feel? What was the difference in the experiences of driving with the one that had the sensors, the one that didn't have the sensors? How do you feel?
Yeah. The one with the sensors, it makes you more secure. Like it gives you an edge of safety than the one without the sensors.
But when you were sitting in one of the sensors, was there kind of the eagerness that I want to go back into one of the sensors?
So please, the question again.
When you were in the one with the sensors and without the sensors, was there an eagerness to return to the one with the sensors?
Yes, please.
Okay.
You always feel like driving the one with the sensors.
Okay, that's cool. I think I saw another hand up. Yeah, Richard, yeah.
Okay, sir. I think I'm now recalling these things. So the one with the sensors, this proximity sensors to be precise.
Yeah.
What I realize is if you are in traffic and you have these sellers coming closer to your cars while the car has been stopped, then you still hear the beep in the car.
Yeah.
So with that, can you say it is intelligent enough? Because
but it's helping the car to perceive this environment, that there is an object there.
Okay.
Somebody wrote Kantanka. It has that senses. Very, yeah, you're joking with us. Okay, I don't know. I'm not doing that one. Yeah. So, Richard, what you are saying is true. It's actually be able to tell you that you are having. In the US, we used to use some when we're doing. I finished my PhD. Where I was doing my postdoc there. One of my friends who was doing his PhD was using a Malibu, which is a car from, I think, this popular Chevy.
Chevrolet.
Chevrolet. And the Chevrolet car, the Malibu was cars that the police use. So the one we got was one that we repossessed from the police, and there was even a bullet inside. I remember. One interesting thing about that car was that the windows, that's the side windows that you have, that you look through as you are driving, not the front window. When you come close to it, it starts to blow an alarm. It's not the car, the window itself. If you touch the window, it will vibrate and give you a shock. So I realized that it was for the police to protect themselves when they are arresting prisoners or arresting culprits on the street and stuff. So I think later on we had to remove that functionality because it was becoming unbearable to use. Because sometimes you are not very careful. You are in your friend's place and it will start giving people shocks and stuff. So it was part of the vehicle. It was built as one of the security systems in the vehicle. I don't know whether anybody have seen what I'm talking about. It is written that this mirror will give you a shock if you touch it. Or you have not seen some before.
No, sir.
Okay. You're not okay then. Maybe if you're watching some of the movies, you may see it. Maybe Bad Boys or any of those other movies, you may see it in the police cop movies. Okay, so let's look at the third one. Richard, you can read for us since you are already. Laziness started when we move from manual to automatic. Hey, Paulina. Okay, can you read for us?
Yes, sir. AI refers to the development of computer systems capable of performing tasks that would normally require human intelligence, such as visual perception, natural language understanding, and decision-making.
So it seems like
ETA,
yeah.
2016.
It's interesting that each of the definitions they are giving us, they are layering it with some other features that is not in the other one. So now I've said there's natural language processing that has to do with something with the speech recognition or being able to intelligently understand what somebody is saying. So there are quite a number of definitions, and one of the reasons why there are a number of definitions could be what? There are quite differences in definitions could be what? What could there be differences in definitions and or how people perceive what AI is? Oh, but this one, let me ask you, why do you think there are different definitions?
Prof, it could be as a result of the I would say the capabilities or the things that it can do. So, for example, in the third definition, we are talking about the natural language processing, which maybe not all other AI systems may be able to process the language. There is some level of capability that one can have. Okay. It may be able to just do maybe visuals, okay, but not be able to process language.
Okay, so what you have said is true. One, because the field is evolving, and as it's evolving, people tend to build on one of the features and expand it to do more. Even you as a child, when you are growing, you know that your visual perception is not as good as in the first 1 week, the second 1 week, the third, the fourth. As it gets to even the distance you can see as in the first 1 week is different from the distance you can see in about 4 months' time. I don't know those of you who have got babies at home, if you have experienced this thing, or your brother's baby or your sister's baby. I don't know. And the ladies, can you give us anything when you had your child? Do you see that happening? Okay. All my
Yes,
ladies.
please.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, please.
So now, in the first 2 days, could he see? How far could the child see?
Well, it's difficult for me to perceive, but I'm told that they cannot see too much. Like they cannot see us from afar unless we bring them close to us.
Oh,
but you can see that most of the time too, they barely open their eyes. They would like to be in dreamland, sleeping more. So
Okay.
as they
What
grow
about-
in the
what
weeks
about
and they
5
open
months?
their eyes, they look around.
What about 3 months and 5 months after?
Yes, I understand by then they're able to see very clearly.
Why you say you understand?
And that's why they...
Now you have not gone that route.
I have.
So why you say you understand? Haven't you experienced it with your own child? Okay.
I have. Okay, so that's what they do.
Okay. Richard, you are the man, so tell us the man's perspective.
Sir, mine is a question.
Okay, then continue.
So my question is, we have in some automation systems, and now we are hearing AI. How complex should the task be to be perceived as artificial intelligence?
I think it's much more about how complex should the ability of the engine be or the machine be. You can automate without needing AI. But when you start adding the thing being able to learn and make decisions based on what it's learning, I was perceive the environment and reason and learn from the experiences, then you are talking about more intelligent beings. So let's say it's as a continuum. At time random, just basic automation. Let me just give a basic automation. Let me that I want something very, very simple.
Traffic light.
Not even that. Yeah, traffic light is even part. Traffic light is built by an algorithm. So the algorithm has been written for it to do that at this stage. So 5 minutes you stop and let this one come. So there's a lot of human intelligence in the planning of it, and after that they build it as a physical system. So the thing knows after 5 minutes to allow. I built one when I was in. When I was in Morning Star. I think I built one. We built one in school. It's not anything that is the algorithm there is not very strange. Yeah, but there's some, and it doesn't do any much decision making. If you realize when the traffic light is jammed, you can't do anything. It has to just be flicking the lights. If it was an intelligent system, you should be able to I understand that a traffic jam will take place. So how do I resolve a traffic jam? That's not much of an intelligence system. But what we'll see an intelligence system being is that when you add a camera and it then takes a picture of it's able to read the car plate and send, by the time you get home, there's a ticket waiting for you. Then intelligence is coming inside. Because it has to recognize the variables on it. It's not being inputted. It has to recognize the number plate, interpret it into a language for it to be able to understand, and then map it with the existing database, get your phone number, and send you the ticket, print it, give it to somebody, and to be in your house by the time you come in. Ghana's own, I heard now they can also they announced it last week that now they can also take the picture and then give you give you a ticket. But I don't think that one they'll bring it to your house. they may have to find you and give it to you. Okay. So I think let's differentiate the automation with when we go online right now. I'll let us do the search. We'll look for the word how automation differs from AI, but it's actually they're in two different worlds. And one can be a build up of the other. That's automation was what we had first. When we like for example, you have a machine that picks packs let's say packs water boxes of water in a factory. It's not necessarily artificial intelligence until if you just moving it to one place to the other, it's just automated the movement. But if it's able to pack it intelligently, arrange it so that they fit a particular space, able to identify calculate how many will go up and how many will go down. Then you are talking about, and you'll be able to make adjustment. You are talking about intelligence coming inside, coming into it. So you have to understand: is there any decision making taking place? To what extent is it mimicking a human being before you can say intelligence is taking place? Okay. So where can we find AI? We have learned from today that we saw it in the video that we can look at it from the self-driving cars. Why? Because the self-driving car is using sensors. We mentioned it. Cameras and AI algorithm to perceive the environment and make real-time decisions and navigate safely on the roads. So that's why we qualify it as being part of the classification that we have. Okay, so is that okay? Is that understood? Because we discussed that one. Okay. So companies like Tesla, Waymo, and Uber are investing heavily in this particular area, and they are using that to be able to enhance the safety and the efficiency of the autonomous vehicles. But let's also understand that why are they doing it? It's not just about putting the technology into the car. It's about bringing it to a particular outcome, and the outcome is the safety on the road. Because with time, remember what the old man said, he has reached an age that he doesn't want to drive anymore. He wants to retire from driving. So if this is going to be there for him, he'll be very happy. Somebody also said that when you use Waymo, you can avoid all the chit-chat, the small chit-chat the driver wants to do with you. How many of you have been very, very unhappy or put off by the kind of chit-chat sometimes even Uber drivers try to do with you when you sit in the car? Or nobody here takes Uber. Okay. So let's continue. Another example. Oh, okay, Elizabeth, your hand is now. Natural language processing. NLP is a subfield of AI that focuses on enabling computers to understand and interact with the human language. So in recent developments, we have had things like the Siri. I think Siri is one of the voice assistants that you have on your virtual assistants, which is activated by voice on your iPhones, and then Alexa is on some I think Amazon products, and Google Assistant is on the Google products. Now, most of them can be used to perform tasks, so you can even ask certain questions and it will answer. But most of these ones, they don't do any dynamic, should I say, real-time decision making. What they do is that they pick from a database and give you the information. So, for example, if you tell them play music for us, it will just play the music, like play Happy Birthday for us. Then to play Happy Birthday from the list of music that it has access to from the database. Setting reminders and then send you reminders. That one is able. I think now there are fridges that even do that. I saw one at Hisense, a fridge that has a kind of an Android tablet in front of it that you can put information in it, and then it can actually send you reminders about maybe milk getting spoiled and stuff. I know Samsung have got very, very expensive ones around 33,000. But the one I saw high sense, I'm not doing advert too. This is about 2 months ago. I saw it around 13,000. So I said this one is an entry level one for anybody who wants to buy kind of an intelligent fridge, if I should call it that, an intelligent fridge. But you know, some of these things can be built without AI. Let me just give an example. When I think I told you this thing. Now, when I was doing my PhD, I did a study on fan milk, and the fan milk had fridges that they have attached to kind of a temperature reading machine or gadget, and that temperature reading machine was also attached to a modem, so that when the temperature falls at below some level and it remains that level, that particular temperature level for some time, it will send a text message to the officer in charge of that particular refrigeration unit, so that in case maybe the lights went off and you don't want the ice cream to spoil, then the guy will come from the home and come and do override certain systems to make sure that the fridges are working well. So that was an interesting way of linking linking a modem to a temperature gauge and then sending text message to you. Now somebody said, so where is the intelligence taking place? Now at that time, I don't think I saw it as artificial intelligence, but what I saw is that these are different systems the person has put together to do that. But it's actually doing what the car is doing. It's picking sensors. The sensors are linked to other gadgets, so that you put it together, then the intelligence is created. So the intelligence, these devices on their own may not be intelligent. The manner with which we put them together is what creates the intelligence. Please, you understand me? The manner that we put it together. So if you're unable to, if the car takes pictures from the environment, there are quite a number of you here that may have camera in your car. The only thing the camera tells you, some of them, the ones they sell are Bosoka, some of them don't have EV sensors. Or it tells you that you are nearing an object. Some of them even don't have the red and the yellow lines in it. It just has a camera and tells you that what is around. So now you have to use your human intelligence to know that you are getting nearer to an object or not. I don't know whether you have seen what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's just a simple camera. That one in the car is not making the car intelligent. Please, you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, good. So the one
question then. So that is why I was asking at what level, because some go further. So for instance, just like the cars we saw in the video, if it's nearing an object, right? Yes. And like I heard with the Tesla, if it's nearing an object and you, the driver, you even have your leg on the accelerator pedal, it would brake by itself.
Yes, please.
Irrespective of how much you step on it.
Yes, please.
So others would also see the object and then be beeping, prompting you.
Yes, please.
Others will see the object, but will expect you to make your own decision.
Yes.
So in this case,
we have got semi-autonomous. We have got semi-autonomous and autonomous ones, and the higher we go to in the independence, the more technology we have to put in, the more AI, human intelligence we have to mimic. I should use that one. So on the continuum of mimicking human intelligence, you have to know that it's like I told you about the baby. As we develop, some cars can do more than the other. For example, the S-Class can do more and even park itself. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. It will park itself in a car park and align perfectly. But others will also be, they will not park themselves. So what about that? So it's about the investment of technology that is in. But you can't say that one is AI when there's different levels of AI or different type of AI applications that have been put into it to be able to do that. Are we understanding? Yes, good.
Understood. Yes, sir.
Okay. Personalized recommendation. So you watch Netflix movie, then they recommend another one to you. It's an AI-powered recommendation system, which has picked your behavior of what you have been watching to be able to create a profile about you. So I can suggest that your next song should be this, or your next movie should be this, or your whatever you should think about should be that. Now, when the thing is doing the TV and you know that TV that you have, the Netflix is an app sitting on the TV. Do you understand me? Now that app that is sitting on the TV is connected to a database somewhere in let's say Seattle, where maybe Amazon may have servers that Netflix has rented or has bought. Now what is happening is that the AI is going to pick your information. Also check whether you are, in fact, first, let's take it first of all, you log in. Then you sign in as into Netflix. So it will verify your information. It will verify your identity. And then it will also look at your previously watched this thing and bring the old things you have been watching. Then because you watch, for example, this afternoon, I was told that Kung Fu Panda, a new season has been released, because I used to watch Kung Fu Panda a lot. So it is telling me a new season has been released. Why? Because it is looking at my previous videos I've watched to recommend that I'll be interested in that one. And why does it get it? When I'm watching Kung Fu Panda, it asks me that I can favorite. I can choose as I like it or not. When I vote that I like it, then it actually puts it in the database. I can watch without voting. So that one, it will just put the list of things I've watched in the past and think that I may do that. But when I start adding more information to it, it will give me better recommendations, or recommendations which are near what I'm looking for. So it has to pick information from you to make that decision. That's why it's called personalized recommendations. Okay. Now, these systems analyze user preferences, behavior, and historical data to generate recommendations. So this is the amount of information, and this one you also do it. For example, let's just say that you went to school at Presec. I went there, so I'm using an example. And Presec, one of our girls' school is a Brig Girls. So you meet somebody from a Brig Girls, you sometimes the thing that comes in mind is that, oh, what year were you? And the person say, let's say 96. Then you remember that 96, where were you? You used to go to a Brig Girls. Just remember, were you this and this person's mate? What am I doing? As a human being, I'm analyzing historical data at that time. I've also looked at the person. That was the person there at that time, the behavior. Were you there at that time? Then I can say, I was there, but I was the quiet type, so I used not to come for intercourse or something like that. So maybe I never met you, I never knew you. So that means that the person's preferences and choices at that time made the person we couldn't meet. There was no situation for us to meet. But maybe if the person was coming for intercourse and I met the person, that's intercolleges or interschools games, I could have met the person. I could have to talk about, oh yeah, I remember this and this lady won. I was also a runner in this particular year group or something like that. Now, what I'm doing is that as a human being, I'm using historical data, I'm using behavior, I'm using preferences, and I'm using, sometimes you may meet somebody from Big Girls and still not talk to the person, because maybe after Big Girls, you also went to, after Presec, you went to Tech. You tend to see people you went to University of KNUST as more of your fraternity and people you like to build relationships with. So you will not ask about Big Girls anymore. You would rather be asking about Tech. Why? Because of what you choose to do. So, but the same thing that we choose to do, the systems are now being designed to be able to think at real time like that. And that's what makes it different from just automating a system that is based on a specific process. Pick this box and put it on this platform. And that is all they're supposed to do. It will continue picking the box and put it on the platform. It will not think intelligently and add any other thing. But this one is able to assess, is able to take information, use that information to make decisions, in order to enhance the experience for the customer. So that's what is quite different from the other system that we may know. Okay, AI is also making strides in the healthcare industry, aiding in diagnostics, treatment planning, and personalized medicine. For instance, deep learning algorithms have been developed to analyze medical images such as X-rays, MRIs, and CT scans for detection of diseases like cancer. And this is needed because sometimes you might not even have all the information, but you're able to look at it and tell that this is what you may need to rely on, or this is what, if this and this is present, could be the outcome, or we can predict whatever it's supposed to predict. Our algorithms can provide accurate and timely diagnosis, helping doctors make more informed decisions. Instead of the doctor telling them, go and come. With the algorithm, if your information is fed, your CT scan is fed into the system, it can be able to look at it and just tell you certain patterns. But let me go back to one thing that I think Elizabeth or somebody said. So let me give a hypothetical situation. We are arguing that for AI to be able to predict what you say, it has to rely on historical data. So what happens if I give it bad historical data? or biased historical data. For example, in healthcare, I'm looking at coroner. And then in Accra here, I know the coroner reportage. So I have maybe the coroner reportage from Medina is higher than that is from let's say Sotu. But in trying to put it into the computer, I put the cases of Sotu more. Like I put 100 for every 100 case of Sotu, I put only 3 of Medina. Do you know that at the end of the day, the system will start thinking that there's high probability that coroner will happen at Sotu, not at Medina. Hello?
Yes, yes, sir.
So what we feed into the AI, for the AI to learn, can also be where we can have biases happening. And this can happen in any place. It can even happen in examination results. Like those of you write the SAT and the SAT and other GRE and stuff. They can, yes, Abigail, you can go.
Sir, please, I have a question.
Yeah.
And it's in regards to the video that we watched, the AI, the driverless cars. So if we are talking about being the information that is put in that determines what happens, I wanted to know that in the case of an accident, is the AI naturally programmed to save passengers or save the people outside the car? So let's say there's a forthcoming accident ahead of us, and the distance is short, so there's no way to, let's say people on the side of the road. Is the AI going to drive straight into the onlooking accident, missing the people on the side of the road?
So,
or is it going to go to the side of the road, saving the people in the car and probably harming the people outside the car?
So I've not used a driverless car before, but you are giving it with the hypothetical situation that you think that what happens to us, that certain things can jump on the street and we didn't see it early. AI, the cars, then their cameras, if they are on working, they see things further and calculate it further than what you will see, how fast you will see it. So depending on the distance that the camera has been, and some of them, for the Google ones, they are even using satellite data. So it's able to tell where there's traffic. It's whilst he's leaving Medina, he knows that there's a choke, there's already a problem at, let's say, you are leaving Medina. So he knows that there's a problem at Opongo Junction already. But you, the human being, you don't know. So you'll be driving straight there. But the AI is already talking to the satellite. And the Google map is telling him that there's a traffic conditions. So start planning ahead and have about 7 routes you'll be using. Number 2, remember what they told us about Tesla, that even if your leg is on it, the car will stop. What the car will do is that the car will try to prevent itself from becoming part of the, being the perpetrator or causing the accident. So it will try to stop to be able to save the people in the car, but to also prevent it from creating harm to whoever is on the street. That is why from the distance that is coming, it has already started reducing its speed. I wish we could have watched one, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but maybe next week when we spend more time doing another podcast session like last week, we'll do that. Oben, remind me. So what if you watch the S-Class, how they train it? They can speed the car and then the object will just be in front of it. Then you see the car will still come to a stop. Why? Because as soon as it sees the object, the brakes set in and it starts to reduce the torque of the car so that it will be able to stop at the right time. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. But that's if everything is working in 100% mode and nothing is obstructing the camera and the camera is all rightly. But we can, if some bed, Ghana here, somebody comes out of his car and pour palm oil and this onto the street. So if your AI car is coming, somebody pours something onto the car. Maybe that part of the camera cannot see very well. But even if you stop seeing well, it will tell you. So in my ideal situation, without knowing how Google program is on, I know that it will try to stop the accident from occurring, it being the cause of the accident. That's what I know. By doing that, it will also try to reduce the effect on the people outside and people inside. Please, have I answered your question?
Yes, please.
Doesn't any of you use a car that can stop on its own? Nobody wants to flex right now. On Saturday, maybe everybody will come there and check the cars they bring. Then you can find out who has that car. Okay.
That we have started, when you are stopping it doesn't even want to stop.
The car doesn't want to stop. Why is it Kantaka or which car?
Break ninja.
You know, this idea come your family people, they have come for the car. African AI, especially.
So please, I wanted to ask or contribute about the one you talked about, bias data.
Yeah.
I was wondering, maybe it's because of that bias data that made them think during the COVID time that Africa, that spelled doom for Africa, but it didn't come to pass.
It's possible. And they look at the bias data from the fact that they have looked at patterns of outbreaks in Africa before with the other one, Ebola and all the other ones. So they knew that we don't have, our health system are not well structured to receive it. But they also forgot that our transportation systems are also not well structured to spread it very easily like that. They didn't realize those other aspects of it because it was about coming into the country. So all the president had to do is to shut in the coming so that he reduce the number that can come in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how it is. You look for where your weakest point is and you solve it. But the American system, you can't do that. Okay, AI-based solutions like smartphone app developed by Agritechs in Cameroon help farmers diagnose plant diseases and suggest treatments leading to improved crop yields. So some of them have got an app. So you take a picture of you can use the camera of your phone to take a picture of maybe a leaf, and it goes into the app, and then the app can tell you whether you are getting this type of disease and what you should do about it. So this one too is doing what someone said earlier, that it's taking the information, scanning it at real time, visual perception, perceiving the environment, but it is comparing it to an existing data to be able to give you a prescribed solution, which will help you increase your crop yields. So I think all of them are working in this scenario. You need some database that has right information, and we need to on plant diseases, and then we need to be able to take the information in real time and then also be able to compare. Now, similar applications such as Hello Tractor in Mozambique use AI to predict crop yields and optimize farming practices. Transportation, startups like Swivel in Egypt are utilizing AI to coordinate private bus fleets, enhancing transportation efficiency and providing commuters with alternative options in areas where overwhelmed public transit networks may exist. Now, what is happening in this scenario is like, okay, complete farmer in Ghana. Thank you very much, Miriam. Okay. So when I give an assignment, I think you can be able to give an example. Okay. Okay, so what's happening here is that you have a number of bus fleets that are put into a transportation app or software, and it's as the cars are moving, it can tell you, looking at the traffic condition, it can reroute some of the path of the bus fleets, and also then in real time inform consumers or commuters so that they can be at certain places and then be able to pick the vehicle or pick the bus. You know, Ghana, if there's traffic, the guy can branch and pass through some back door without even telling you the Western city. So all of a sudden you realize that you are driving through somebody's backyard and you are going, then you appear at some place, then you end up in the streets. Anyway, but here this one is actually using AI to coordinate the movement of the bus fleets and also help to inform the commuters that where you should stand to be able to get the next bus. But let me give you in UK, there's a simpler version of this, which is not AI. You call the transportation office and tell them that which I'm standing here, where else can I be able to meet bus 31? And you can tell them that bus 31 is the next 2 streets, so walk to the next few streets, and then you can be able to meet. But that one is not AI. That is human being to human being. It's very physical and manual in nature. But the AI one could be able to use the system, the person could query the system, and the system could answer the person. That's quite different. Language. In Rwanda, a local startup called Digital Umuganda is currently working on a text-to-speech model that can read out government publications and announcements to individuals who are visually impaired or unable to read. So what they are trying to do is that they have built their own model that picks the local language and is able to create a computer version of it for you to understand, for the computer to understand, so that when an article comes out, it can be able to read it out. Now, in reading out, there can be two ways. Either it's taking the English and translating it into the local language, or like in Uganda, I used to live there. Some of their local languages are well digitized or well formalized. So they have newspapers that come in the local language. So in that scenario, it will just be able to read the local language. If the article or the government publication in the local language, can be able to read that announcement to the individual in the local language for the person to understand. Okay, so now that we have seen how AI is being used in Africa and the examples of it, now let's look at the different categories of AI. Now, this is a very complex field. I don't know it all. So I plead the faith here that I don't know it all. There are areas that are coming up that me myself, as I read more, I get to understand how they are using it. The first one we call narrow AI. And this one, there's narrow AI and there's general AI. This one reflects on what we are talking about, that some are more complex than the other. For example, narrow AI refers to AI systems that are designed to perform specific tasks or solve specific problems with limited domain. It can only apply to it can apply to everything. So they don't have all intelligence. And I mentioned it to you that, for example, with Siri and Alexa, the data that they have access to is what they can speak to. So if Siri has access to Amazon's music library, and Amazon's music library has happy birthday song coming from you, coming from somebody. If you ask it to play a happy birthday song, it might likely play that song to you. But maybe there's a happy birthday song in Tree. You might not be able to know it because it's not in the database. I hope you understand what I'm trying. So what it has access to is what it use to give out information. So their systems have specialized tasks, but lack general intelligence. So that we call them narrow AI. Some people say it's weak AI. Then you have got general AI, the strong one. General AI refers to AI systems that possess human-level intelligence, can understand, learn, apply knowledge across different domains. General AI aims to replicate human cognitive abilities and exhibit flexible problem-solving skills. Achieving true general AI remains an ongoing challenge in the field. So some of the generative AI like ChatGPT, somebody may argue that it's a dimension or it's on the pathway or the continuum of general AI. Because it's not, it's an ongoing challenge in the field. It's not, doesn't mean that there's a perfect general AI. No, we are still learning and still building these platforms. Even in the ChatGPT that you may have heard about it, that's once the knowledge of it. The knowledge of it can be gained by sorry, I'm coming. I was responding to something. Okay. The knowledge of ChatGPT is only up to 2021. So anything after 2021, it doesn't really know. Most of the data that have been put in was up to, I think, May. If you go to their website, they mentioned it's up to 2021. So they have built it with a fed information up to that time. But the interesting thing about it is that it's able to pick the information and use it in an intelligent way to generate answers. So some of the things that it can do is not based on any information that you have. For example, you tell it that it should write a poem of happiness. It will just start writing happiness because it has so much database of information concerning what happiness is. Books on happiness is in it, and then there is also poems about happiness. Okay, let me just use it to do something for you to see something here. Okay, I want to do something that's more interesting. ChatGPT. Okay. Okay. So okay, you can see it's now. I use ChatGPT Plus. So let me just give it write a poem about happiness in the style of Charles Dickens. Those of you who have read Great Expectations, so you know Charles Dickens. The style of Charles Dickens. Okay. So look at what it will do. Okay, so we know that Charles Dickens is set up in the Victorian days. So you see the first thing to write is in the bustling streets of Victorian days, where the chimney sweeps and the merchants play. Happiness oft, that is Victorian English, elusive, lies in hidden nooks, in the stolen glasses of engrossed books. Okay. Now listen, I'm going to tell it to do the same thing, and I'll change the style I should write it. Okay. Write this in the style of Abraham Lincoln. Okay. I see what it will do again. See, the language has changed again. Do you realize it? Guys, do you see what is happening? Hello?
Say.
Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
sir. We are here.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's go again. I don't want to use it to do your assignment too. I'm just using it to do something for you. So let's do another one, and let's do something more contemporary. In the style of, I may write somebody, the person may not know the person.
Probably let's do Chino Achebe and see. Let's see what I will come.
How do you spell Chino Achebe?
I think it's CH.
If you get it wrong, it will not give us any good answer.
Sir,
CHINUA.
please, let's do Amata Edu.
Amata. Is it how your own is? You have to get everything right too. If the person is in the database in Kwadia, Ata Edu, is it like this? Is her own like this? Or her Ata is TTAH?
Her Ata is, yeah, it says like that. It's like that.
Okay, let's do it. Ama is known by ChatGPT. You see, the first thing in Ghana. It's talking about the Volta. Now, do you realize what's happening now? And you put Edu's name inside. So what it is doing is that it is drawing from the diverse information. Amma didn't write this one, but it knows about Amma, and is using that one to write it. So the intelligence that it has is based on what has been put in, but in real time, it is using other information that it knows about what's the structure of a poem. Okay, so if I did the same thing in the style of Shakespeare, you see that to be a little bit different. Let's use somebody who is more new nowadays in Ghana here. Who is loud in Ghana? I want something that it will not be able to do.
If you're Schwarzenegger.
That's what is okay, Kennedy.
My God.
Kennedy. In Japan, how does this spell in Japan? AGE, like this. Is it right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now it could take the Kennedy and use it. It could also know Japan is a Ghanaian name. Those are the two possibilities. Or it will tell me that who is he? It's writing, so it means that it is doing it. In the Gold Coast. So it knows a Japan from that year. Accra to Kumasi's might. Okay, so let's say, because of what did I say, who is King James? Let's ask it. Who is Kennedy Ejapong? As of my last update in 2021, Japan has been a member of parliament. It's not Simo. He knows what he even owns. It's able to tell you the difference between the Japan, the Y and the A1. The YA and the Y. Even the one I wrote was wrong spelling, but it was able to tell me. Somebody said I should try.
Wow, beautiful.
So it means that he said as of my last update, so he's actually talking to us now of September 2021. So when they release a new one, the next version next in about 2 months time or a year, at the end of the year, we are in trouble. Because maybe to have everything that happened to Alan Chemati inside. We have interesting perspectives now. Anyway, so this is how the generative AI works. We have not read about it, we mentioned that one. Please, can I go ahead? Who is surprised? Let's be honest. I'm not saying that somebody shouldn't be surprised, but who is surprised? I'm a little bit surprised that it had that information. Elizabeth, good. Paulina, okay. Those of you who have been using ChatGPT already, you are not surprised. Okay.
But I'm not surprised. The reason why I'm not surprised is like, are we actually taking data privacy serious? Looking at all of this.
Everything is taking the data information online. If you go to Wikipedia, you have put the thing there already. So he's using it. So if it's even
if I were to be in Japan, I'm not giving ChatGPT the permission to use my data, so I don't see the reason why you need to be saying all that about me.
No, you have actually also make your data open. Your information is already on your data is already open, and the open data has gives us access to use it. For example, your data is already on Wikipedia, which is an open platform. Anybody can use the data there. And ChatGPT are not using it for it, it's just in the database. So it's like it's already on Google. So it just took everything on Google. And then this same question I could have asked Google. Google would have brought me different answers from different places, but it won't curate it for me. What ChatGPT has done is that it has created it into a story. Do you understand it? So if the information, that's one thing you have to be careful. If all the information about you is what the negative things people say about you, that's what ChatGPT put together and create an image, a story about you. So if you don't tell your own story, it's not good for you. So that brings the question that, so do I put my information online or don't put my information online? That's the difficult question that we have to all answer. Anyway, machine learning is a subset of AI that focuses on enabling systems to learn from the data. So there's machine learning here and improve the performance without explicit programming. So sometimes what ChatGPT does is that he asks you a question that, was my answer correct? Should I try it again? So you can regenerate it again. And then as you vote that it was correct, then it means that the algorithm that you use to create that sentences that you see there is working. So it will keep using that one. If it's not working, it's going to modify it. So we in using ChatGPT make it more intelligent. It's like how you, as you interact more with people, you come on. For example, do you realize that every time that you go on social media and read, you are watching movies, you are watching something, you are watching reels, and you're watching shorts and stuff. You are either adding to intelligence or removing from intelligence. Do you realize it? Sometimes you finish watching all these things and nothing good enters you up, apart from all the things that will just indeed dampen your spirit or even take more good information that you have in mind or change your perception about issues. And sometimes we don't realize that the mind itself in reading and looking at it. Some of you, if you watch it whilst you are going to lie in bed, I want to laugh small, let me go and watch it. And as it does, your mind is also harvesting the information and is using it to create possibilities. So sometimes you'll be sitting down thinking of something, then some video you watched some time ago comes into your mind. Where did it come from? It's already in the database. Me, what I've come to learn from some of these machine learning platforms is that I've realized that how our mind itself is complex as a human being. So whatever we are feeding our mind, just as we are feeding ChatGPT, we should be careful, because it is all part of what will create the personality or your process of thought. But one interesting thing about the human being is that we have judgment. So we are able to judge and make some information more superior than the other. For example, some of you are able to judge that information from someone like Agrada will not take of high value than information from maybe my job online. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Okay. So ML algorithms can analyze patterns, make predictions, and adapt their behavior based on experience. Examples of machine learning techniques are supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. These are all dimensions that is beyond our class to discuss them, and I just wanted to introduce you. Then there's deep learning. Deep learning is a subfield of machine learning that utilizes artificial neural networks with multiple layers to model and process complex patterns and data representations. For example, it helps us to be able to do things like image recognition, natural language processing, and speech recognition, which relies on so many different types of information. For example, if you are letting the information, like letting a computer to be able to mimic somebody's voice, it means that it has to be able to take the person's voice, put it in a computer, analyze the different inflections, how you pronounce different words, and then return it back into as the person's voice and let them and use it to read text for you. Now, I do documentaries in which I sometimes use an AI voice. I just type it and it will read it for me. And the AI voices have got different levels of talking, of speech. Let me see if I can. They've got different voices that are in, so you can mimic, you can pick a voice of a child, you can pick a voice of an adult, you can pick a voice of a lady, somebody from UK, somebody from different countries. All because what are you trying to do? You're trying to mimic a particular, use it to create a particular sound that may be relevant to what you are doing. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to log into Speechello and then just use that one quickly to just show you something. I'm hoping that my login address will work. Okay. So because I edit some of the videos I create, and I also do some other productions using computer-based software, I use this platform called Speechello as an AI engine to be able to turn text into speech for me. I'm hoping it can open. It's taking a long time. Okay. I'm using VPN like I taught you last week. I'm now on using the American. I'm appearing as being in the US, so it's taking time for me to. Okay, so this is it. So I type my speech here, and then I can choose among the voices that are here. So look, these are some of the voices I've created, the stories I've created in the past. So let me type something. What do you want me to type? Give me a sentence to type. Hello, class.
Good is enough.
Good is enough. But that's too short. Okay. So I choose an AI. I can choose a standard voice or an AI voice or a normal tone. So if I choose AI voice, I can choose the tone I want, the friendly tone, serious tone. So let's use serious tone. Okay. And I say I can also translate. So generate the voice over to generate it for me. It has been generated. Okay, and to come down here. So now listen to it.
Good is enough.
This is a serious tone. I'm using Billy Joey's voice. Good is enough. Now I'm going to use, there's a kid that I've been working with. Owen the kid. Now look at Owen the kid. Let me generate that one. And this good is enough is too short. Let me see if I can find some text me to add to it. So it can become a little bit. Oh. Looking for some text. It's taking too much time. Okay, let me see. I can find. Okay. Okay. Let me see if I can do this one. Or somebody else give me a text in there. Aha, okay, good. I've got a text from somebody. Good. Thank you for sharing it. So let me add it to it. So now let's create it in this guy's voice. Let's keep Billy Kid's voice. Okay. Now listen to it too.
Good is enough. But sir, don't you think those eyes bring up lazy drivers? Holding security to be constant.
See how it read it. Okay, if I use Rosie, I think it will work. I want to use Rosie, a female.
Good is enough. But sir, don't you think those eyes bring up lazy drivers? Holding security to be constant.
Somebody will say, I don't think those AI bring up lazy drivers. Holding security counter. So that's what you see. So you can add background music. And this is what some people have been using to create people's voices. So now this one is just picking a voice. So what's in other places, you can also do a voice generator. What you then do is that you pick somebody's voice, put it inside, and then to then create the person's voice. So that from now it will speak like the person for you. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Okay.
Yes, sir.
I don't know whether you guys are enjoying the class. Okay.
Yeah, we are.
Reinforcement.
are.
Okay, the reinforcement learning involves training an AI agent to make decisions and take decisions in an environment to maximize rewards. So the agent learns through trial and error, receiving feedback in the form of rewards, penalties for its actions. We use this one in robotics. Those who have been seeing some of the companies develop robots that are used for warfare, robots that are used for gameplay or choosing or lifting objects. They use this kind of stuff. So there's a penalty for what you get if you get it wrong, and there is a reward for you. So the system begins to realize that it can't go the wrong way, to always go the right way. Then natural language processing involves interaction between computers and human language. It enables machines to interpret, understand, and generate human language in a meaningful way. NLP techniques can be used in various applications like machine translation, sentiment analysis, and chatbot. Chatbot is like, I think this Star Insurance has one. I've forgotten the name. Is it FIA or something like that? Then you can, it's like a sales customer service chatbot that you can ask questions and then you can give you some basic answers. What's the one from some of the banks that you know of? They have some names. I think. Oh, you have not heard. You don't know what I'm talking about. They give them a name, maybe a FIA or something like that. It's like a system that you can chat with and ask questions on basic questions about the company from, and they'll answer to you. Have you come across that before?
So
Yes.
Yes, I think Enterprise has one.
Okay, Enterprise has one. What's the name of Enterprise's own?
I can't remember. Charlotte or Barbara.
Computer vision.
So for EcoBank, it's Rafiki.
Rafiki, okay.
Yeah, for EcoBank.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Computer vision focuses on enabling machines to understand and interpret visual information such as images and videos. So the system can watch a video and be able to identify objects in it. And some of you have seen this one happening, that you upload a picture and to Facebook and it's able to tell that you are in it or your friend is in it. Have you seen that thing? It's called it's a computer vision technology that is also seen as an AI. AI finds application in autonomous vehicles, surveillance systems, and medical imaging. Okay. Then generative AI, like ChatGPT, refers to AI system that can generate new and original content, such as music, images, and text. And this system can use techniques such as generative adversarial networks or variational autoencoders to learn patterns from existing data and create new instances. So there are quite a number of them. There are ones that can even help you to create it can help you to create your own logo. I think that's called, I want to get the right name. It's, okay, it's called Luca.com. Oh yeah, I think it's called Luca.com if I'm right. Luca.com. So it can help you create your own, it's an AI platform that can help you create your own logo. So you put your company name. Let's say your company name is Ajua Beko. That's the name of the company name. So you're getting started. Then it will take your company name, then to ask you a question that what field does your company belong to? Your industry. So let's say Ajua Beko does, let's say something with beauty. Fashion and beauty, or hair. I like hair, so let's choose hair and beauty. So let's do hair and beauty. Okay, so we choose hair, then we continue. Okay, so we can pick these are, remember the definition says that it will pick what is already existing and use it to create new ones. So I want to pick something that is quite interesting, something more feminine. I like this one, Sarah, this type. So let's try that one and see. So I choose this one. No, this one is not too interesting. I like this one. I like this one. So I've chosen a number of them. And let's say, what's your colors? What are your favorite colors? Isabel, what's your favorite color?
Purple.
Purple. Okay, you are like me. My wedding color is purple too. Okay. Ajua Beko, what's your slogan? Hair that shines. Okay, hair that shines. Okay. So it's a hair and beauty salon. I also do makeup. So I choose all this and to generate possible logos I can use for my company and how I can apply it to my how it to look like on my core card and everything. So that's what it will do for you. All this I think for free almost. Hey, it has not come on. Click on the design that's yeah. It's still working. Okay, that's not finished. So I chose good. Ajua Beko. Look at Ajua Beko. Hey. Wow. So there's like a company is even existing now. Okay. So which of them do you guys like? Wow.
The second one is nice.
The second one is this one. Is it this one? Where the mouse is? Or you can't. You guys can't see the mouse. I have to use a notate. Sorry. This one. This one. Is it? Are you talking about this one?
You can see the mouse.
The 8.
Oh, sorry. Let me. Oh. Continue. Yes. Okay. So this Ajua Beko. There's quite another other ones down there. I think the first one, the second one is nice. It's the best. So we select that one. Then they will show you how it will look like on your letterhead and all those kind of stuff. So this is all part of what is happening. So a day will come, somebody say you have stolen my my logo because this is all available for free. So look at how it is looking at on different platforms. So what it's trying to do is that it's trying to generate it and let me see how it will look like on a mobile app. This one is on some of my branding stuff. And then, the computer is hanging. Okay, good. So brand guidelines, branded designs, branded letterheads, email signatures, business cards. So the branding guidelines will show you how you can apply what you have done as a brand for your company. All these things is being done here by AI. So depending on what you have signed up for, you could actually do more and install and get more from it. There are other platforms that can do this, but this is one of the most popular ones. That's why I try to use this one. Okay. So here that shines, branding guidelines, how you can use it. Let me see, 9 pages. So let's see this one. Get a brand kit. Hey. But the brand looks interesting. It looks like a real brand that exists. What do you think, ladies?
It's true.
Maybe I should use it as one of my brands. Hey, now this is where the money starts from. $20 for the file, or you can pay annually, then you have access to the brand kit for the year. But this one is fair. $96 to get a designer in Ghana to do it for you. The guy will do go and come. You yourself, you get tired. And after that, if you don't take it, you even hijack it. But you can get all of these things for a year. And you download it, you can buy your business cards, you have ownership of it, you get the high resolution files, and that's it. And you can also put on t-shirts. It can show you how to look like on t-shirts and stuff. So this is what AI is doing now. These are the interesting parts of AI. And let's go back to our session. Any question on that before we move on? The class has become so, I've not even finished the first set of the time is getting up. Okay. Explainable AI focuses on developing AI systems that can provide transparent and understandable explanation for their decisions and actions. So when an AI can explain itself, the explainable AI aims to address the black box of how did this thing come about? What went into the choices that the AI made? The reason is that we want to be able to audit it so that we know there are no biases in it. It is important for building trust, accountability, and ethical decision-making in AI applications, especially in healthcare, finance, and things related to criminality. So why is AI a concern? One, job displacement. I think even somebody mentioned it earlier in one of the videos that looking at the way it is may take some people's jobs away. And number two, it's not just to take their jobs, it's even replacing them entirely. And especially if that type of job is labor intensive and people are subscribing to it and use AI to replace it, then it means that all of them lose the opportunity of being employed. Data inequality. AI relies on large amounts of data for training and development. Smaller companies or countries with limited access to data may face challenges in competing with larger corporations that have extensive data resources. That's why you are seeing that the ChatGPT scientists are coming from the US. They're not coming from, and even in Ghana and in like the African examples I gave you, what we were doing was more weak, narrow AI, where we were building specific applications to solve specific problems, not the generic one like the general one like what we have seen with ChatGPT. Okay. Social implication, the misuse of AI can potentially invade privacy, sow mistrust, like what somebody, when you saw the essay being written about Honorable Kennedy Champon, some of you were worried about that. Suppress dissent, and then leading to societal changes. There's a need for robust legislation and ethical guidelines and industry standards to mitigate these risks. Okay, so that's now one thing that we should also know that AI is not just about the algorithm. AI itself is solely not defined by algorithms. Algorithms are like recipes and they behave. They have behavior and they have outcomes, depending on what you put into it and how you train it, and the choices made by the developer. So if a developer is biased to Caucasians, it will say that whenever you see African black, say it's an error, or it's not favorable. And wherever you see Caucasian or somebody else, you say it's favorable. If the person puts it in the design, it's going to affect whatever will come out. It will always see what is African as something which is in error and accept what is non-African. That's all. So the developer can make choices that can affect what is going on. Can you imagine that somebody programs a Tesla that when an African sits in, don't let some of the safety mechanisms work, and when a non-African sits in, let it work? We will not be able to know this because some of these things can be hidden in the code. That's why we have to be very concerned about these things, and we also have to get to know how to do these, use them. Okay. Or develop them. Deep reinforcement learning risk. Deep reinforcement learning, a technique used to train AI agents through trial and error, can have unintended consequences. For example, even in ChatGPT, people talk about the fact that it's not always right, and sometimes you're using misguided interpretations of things that's read, and using that one to make decisions for people. I remember there was a case about somebody saying you're using ChatGPT to get advice on marriage. And he was putting his marriage problem inside, then the thing will give him advice. Now, if not properly guided or supervised, these agents may learn harmful or undesirable behaviors. What is good about ChatGPT is that the company that developed it is kind of an ethically conscious company. But the engine that they used to develop, they have made the engine open access, so people can pick the engine and also go and use it to train other and build their own versions of software that can be also as intelligent as that. So that's where the problem comes from. So just in case Ghana police goes to get the engine and say it's training the engine on helping it to be able to understand crime in Ghana, and then they bias the data they put inside. If you don't take care, always they'll be arresting people in a particular locality just because of the way the engine was developed. Okay. For instance, an AI agent trained to maximize a reward in a game environment may find loopholes or exploit unintended vulnerabilities because the thing is intelligent. It can exploit the vulnerabilities and then use it for itself. Lack of transparency and explainability. Many AI models and algorithms operate as black boxes, meaning we can't actually understand why they do take certain decisions, how they arrive at their answers. This lack of transparency, because there are series of AI or algorithms that are working together to give an output. So you may not be able to tell which one generated this output, or you just know that the thing has come out with a decision, and you may not be able to audit the path to the decision. This lack of transparency can hinder accountability and raise concerns about bias, discrimination, and unfair decision making. Okay, so let's look at some case study that we have here. Okay, very short one. Then we'll use that one to wrap up as we discuss the case study. Then next week we'll continue with the other side. Okay, today let me find somebody else to do my reading for me. Now, are you around? Oh, now he's not with us. Okay, Mariam, you can go ahead.
In South Africa, there was a problematic instance of implementing an AI-based digital ID system for granting access to social benefits. Approximately 18 million individuals social. In 2012, the South African Social Security Agency entered into a contract with Cash Pay Master Services to distribute these grants through a digital ID system that later incorporated advanced AI analytics. CPS's parent company, Net1, had access to the data of all 18 million beneficiaries when they used to target and exploit vulnerable individuals with financial offers. Net1, due to its association with CPS, deducted loan repayments directly from the beneficiaries' grant payments, leaving them with minimal or no payment each.
Continue. Oh, please continue.
This unethical practice came to light during a series of court cases exposing the inappropriate sharing of personal data of the most vulnerable individuals in South African communities and highlighting the lack of awareness regarding digital and information rights.
Okay, so here we have a company who has a contract with another company. Then the parent company leverages on the data that the company that is offering the service has and uses that one to also make other decisions. And you see what it led to. And it actually realized that we actually realized that the vulnerable in society didn't even know their rights in relation to this issue. So we see exploitation of the vulnerable population. Most of the individuals in the society who are vulnerable rely heavily on social grants were taken advantage of. Because they took the grant that they took, then they decided bringing these actions that are unrealistic, and at the end of the day, they were not able to even have some level of sustainability for the monthly actions that they were taking from them. Such actions not only undermine the welfare of these individuals, but also erode trust in technology and equitable applications. Yes, does anybody think of any other thing? Let me show you what I thought about. I also saw that there was unethical use of the data. What else do you also see? Unethical use of data. The primary concern is that Net1 used the data of 80 million beneficiaries for a purpose other than what was intended. Do you realize that now when you are collecting data, because of data protection, you have to tell the person what you are going to use the data for? And that you will not use it for any other thing than what you have said on the form.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then also there's a lack of consent. From what we read here, we don't see there was any clear consent being given by the beneficiaries for the use of their data. And I don't know, is anybody experiencing something like that here in Ghana, where you realize that there's something that you have accessed, but the people don't have your consent, but they are using your information to do other things? Is there anything that you have experienced recently? Yeah, Elizabeth.
Service, I think it was a couple of years ago with Enterprise Life when I filled the form to get an account. They had mentioned that they would get my consent to know where to take the money from, whether it's my bank account or my mobile money. But then I realized that they never actually got my consent and they just started deducting from my bank. And when I called, they said I had to come all the way to the office before they can rectify that.
They're making it more difficult for you to even get it rectified. Anyway, but that's what you're saying is true. Yeah, Abdul. Abdul, go ahead.
I went to buy I went to buy kinky. Now we have a lot of food content creators these days who post eateries and restaurants for reviews and all that. I realized that one of them was recording those of us who are buying the food. So I approached them and said, "Stop recording me." And she was with a team, and they were saying, "Oh, it's nothing. So it's just for Instagram." But I stopped them and said they shouldn't record me because I don't want to appear in their videos online. But then there were others who were okay with it, but I wasn't. So I told her to stop recording me.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. But we're able to get what you're looking for when you said that. Did they listen?
Yes.
Okay.
She stopped recording me, but I believe when I left, she'll keep
recording.
So yes,
that's true. That's very, very true. Anyway, thank you. Direct deduction without approval. Deducting loan repayments directly without explicit consent of beneficiaries is another significant issue. Not only does it leave beneficiaries in financial distress, but it also amounts to financial exploitation. So one thing that they did, it led to so many dimensions of breach, so many dimensions of breaches that occurred. Inadequate oversight and regulation. The situation underscores the need for rigorous oversight and regulation of of contracts where personal data is handled, especially when third-party contractors are involved. This one, it looks like the third-party contractor is the one who has caused all the problem. Absence of data privacy protocols. It appears that there weren't any strict data privacy protocols, even about how to share information, what to use, who has access to it, like we learned the other time, in place, or they were inadequately enforced. Means that even if you have it in place, you have to enforce them, leading to misuse of data by Net1 and CPS. I was expecting Net1 to have known better, being the mother company, but it didn't happen. Lack of awareness in digital literacy. This case brings to light the lack of awareness among beneficiaries regarding their digital information rights. For a comprehensive digital literacy campaign could have empowered them to ask the right question and perhaps even spot discrepancies in the system. Even the beneficiaries, I don't think they even knew. And as we're engaging in these things and signing consent, they should have been educated to know what they are signing consent with and what's the implication of that. But potential for bias and discrimination, while not explicitly mentioned in the case description, the use of AI analytics in such scenarios also raises questions about potential for algorithmic biases and then discrimination. This can lead to further inequities in the distribution access to essential resources, which I think happened in this particular case. So that points out why we need responsible AI. I'll just define it and then we'll end it there. Okay, so what is responsible AI? Responsible AI, as some may think, discuss, the thing is, others point it as a framework that addresses the ethical concerns and the responsible usage of AI in business society. So in terms of definition, we define it as the ethical and accountable development. So it's not just about the using, the development of the AI, the deployment or the implementation of the AI, and the use of the AI has to be ethically responsible and accountable. So we have to hold somebody accountable to it. It encompasses principles and practices such as that prioritize transparency, fairness, accountability, and human well-being. Responsible AI recognizes the potential risk and impact of AI on individuals, society, and the environment, and then therefore seeks to maximize or mitigate these risks by maximizing the benefits. Okay. So without responsible AI, we can have breach of privacy, job displacement, and other unintended consequences. So we try to build policies that will guide the ethical and accountable use of AI. Now, most of these policies are underpinned with a number of principles. One is the transparency principle, another one is the fairness, and then there are other ones about accountability. And we'll be looking at these things as we go on. We'll look at transparency and explainability, then we'll look at the other ones. So I'll stop here for now. And look at and then check in whether you have any questions. Because when I continue, I'll end up leading to a case study that we have to do. So I'll stop here for now. Anyway, yes, any questions? Hello?
No, sir.
Okay, you don't have any questions. Okay, what about the chat room? Hey, there are a lot of messages here.
Hello, sir.
Mhm.
Please, I was saying send the link to for the voice, this one. Can you hear me?
For the voice one. I'm talking about
the website.
The website, okay. They put it in the chat room. So let me put it there again. I know somebody can put it in the WhatsApp group. I think it's in the WhatsApp group too. I think somebody has put it there already. But I'll put it here. Okay, so in absence of any question, I want to say thank you. And who can summarize one thing that he has learned from today's session? Some just in a summary. One thing you have learned, one thing that you didn't know before you entered here, and then you have picked it up from the class. Somebody said no update on Showdown. Hey, it will come. He needs an AI to be able to show down. Yes, yes. Iman, who wants to get Godfred? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I went off. I just came back again. That's how my mic is on.
Oh, okay, no, sorry. Okay. We're asking that we are rounding up and wanted to know, we are ending at responsible AI when we'll continue with that next week. But I wanted to know one thing that somebody, so in summary, what have people learned in today's session? If they are not asleep.
Okay, so basically, I think I learned what AI is about. There are various definitions of AI, and what I got from it was that AI intelligence refers to the development of computer systems that can perform tasks that typically require human intelligence. And not just that, there need to be ethical structures put in place to govern these AI systems that they're trying to put in place.
Okay. Thank you very much. One lady to tell us what you learned, and then we go take it as a go. Abigail or Elizabeth or Na or Palestina or Mariam. Any of you can go ahead. The ladies, have you gone to sleep? Okay, Elizabeth, go ahead. Hey.
So please, I learned that with AI, it can come in many forms. We are looking at AI being as simple as the predictive AI, and then we have AI that can go as far as doing almost everything that humans can do. But then one thing that I kept in my mind was when Godfred was mentioning that it is on the border of data privacy, and you mentioned that it's because we've made our data and our information public by putting it on the system or making it available for AI to have access to. That is why AI is able to utilize our data for its purposes and activities.
Okay then. Thank you very much. Good. Okay, it's not that hand here. So thank you very much. And then we'll see you next week. I'll get this video online, then we can ask part 1. Then next we do part 2 and add some other information to it. Okay, how to develop the policies. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.